Welcome back to Cheche. If you're just joining us, we're speaking to His Excellency, the Deputy President of Kenya, William Ruto. And before the break, you had alluded to some of the fires within your backyard. You've got some dissent within your party, URP. The MP, Alfred Cheche, has complained about various projects, but he's also complained that URP is being marginalized by TNA, which of course the union of which gave birth to the Jubilee Coalition. How do you respond to that? Because it seems to be gaining traction amongst you.
It's gaining traction in which place?
Amongst your community, in your backyard. We see that.
You're aware? Do you have any?
Well, I'm asking you the question because you've been an elder. You have denounced him as a young troublemaker representing vested interests. So how do you respond to that charge?
One, he doesn't speak for URP. Yeah, URP has structures, and when URP speaks, you will know that URP has spoken. Secondly, the engagement between URP and TNA is not in the manner in which some people want to project. We agreed with the president from day one that this is one government. It is not a government of Nusumukate, as has been said. This is one government. We have a president and we have a deputy president. And I have an excellent working relationship with the president. We have agreed on every appointment that has been made. And the president and I did not say we are going to appoint this guy because he's URP or that guy because he's TNA. We have looked at Kenyans as people who are competent. And that is why we have even appointed people outside URP, TNA or the other coalition partners. We are looking at Kenyans who are competent. When you listen to the cheap talk, and I call it very base talk, oh, you know, Mutudo was appointed as a Kikuyu, or you know, Kenya was appointed, that's primitive. That is really, you know, that's backward. You know, let us look at Kenyans. Does Kenya have the credentials? Kenya is a solid public servant. And he gives us solid advice, and he has no trace of ethnicity in him. Mutudo is a Kenyan who has demonstrated that he has a passion for something. Anybody who questions Kenya or Mutudo, not on the basis of whether they can deliver or not, but on the basis of the spelling of their name, is a backward person, you know. And we will appoint many Kenyans across the board. If you look at the kind of issues they are raising, or it was supposed to be 50-50, or where has he that, where is the label that this is TNA and that is URP, except that they want to say, oh, this is a Kalenjin, that is a Kikuyu, that is a Luya. They should leave the management of this government to us.
So how are you dealing with this within your party? Within the party
structure? Is solid. The person complaining is one, and he is complaining. Look at the people who are helping him in the complaint. Jackson Kipor, a member of ODM. James Orengo, a member of ODM. So does ODM belong to URP?
And that brings me to the question.
You know, so this is a person who is driving an agenda of people outside our coalition. And you know, I would really not want to discuss that subject because it's a very peripheral subject.
President Uhuru Kenyatta, Deputy President William Ruto, are you being misunderstood? Because if you want to move the country, you must move everybody with you, or you should at least try to make sure that you move with everybody. Because the issue is the day we shall not have Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto, what will happen? And I'm concerned even about the communities, because if Ruto tomorrow decides to move out of the government or disagree with Uhuru Kenyatta, will the communities still be together? So that it is not about Uhuru and Ruto, it's about us.
Let me tell you, Mburu, that the momentum we are building, the institutions we are building, are institutions that will go beyond individuals. We have a cabinet. We have various institutions that are constitutional. And it really doesn't matter down the road, you know, these institutions, whether they are political parties, you know, like URP or TNA, these are institutions that would outlive us as leaders. In any case, Kenya was there before I became deputy president, you know, and Kenya will be there even after I am not deputy president or Uhuru Kenyatta is not president. So these are realities that we must accept and we must live with. And I am very clear in my mind that what is important to us, do we have a plan for this country? Do we have a plan? Do we have a practical, workable plan? And I'm telling you, we have a coherent, workable plan. Let me tell you, for example, we have a plan that in the next year, we should be able to produce an extra 10 million bags of maize. In another 3 years, we should be able to produce 30 million bags of maize. We have laid out the plan for that. We should be able to produce another 5,000 megawatts of energy, of electricity in the next 48 months. We already have a plan in place and it is on course. We want to expand this economy and grow it by double digits. Our plan is that by the end of this year, this economy will be growing at 6%. By the end of next year, it will go to 7%. And we have a plan for it. That is why we are investing close to close to a trillion, actually, close to a trillion in various infrastructure projects, in energy, in the rail, in the road infrastructure, in water infrastructure, in food production. We are investing close to a trillion shillings in all these projects. The reason being, we promised young people of this country jobs.
Okay.
Jobs are not going to come from nowhere. Jobs are going to come if we generate more energy, reduce the cost, create a secure environment for investors to come, make sure that there are roads, make sure there is rail, make sure there is food. That investment will expand this economy. And in the expansion of this economy, we will be able to create jobs. I have seen people say, oh, William Ruto said we are going to replace Hakuna Kazi with Kuna Kazi. It is not going to happen today. It is going to happen as we expand the economy. It is not about magicians. This is about practical, serious steps. And I want to tell them that give us time. 3 years down the road, they will see what this country will look like.
I want to go to the subject of devolution.
Yes.
Is devolution working?
Devolution is working.
MCAs, in fact, today's newspapers, many of them are said to be spending money in doing many little things of their own, but not development. Is devolution working?
Devolution is a critical, very, very critical part of our agenda as Jubilee. Because in devolution, we have the greatest chance to grow a bigger cake or to bake a bigger cake for the country. Devolution, we look at it as expanding growth or creating new centers of growth around the country. We have lived up to our constitutional responsibility to make sure that devolution, we give the necessary resources, the necessary infrastructure and funds to make sure that devolution works. As we are talking today, and I was in Bomet yesterday, and I was making a statement in Bomet that governors, initially we had teething problems. We had arguments. How much money, who is going to do what, devolution of responsibilities, transition authority. But now all the responsibilities have been devolved. We have given clear instructions to all public servants in agriculture, in water, in trade, in health, that now they report to county governments, because that is the responsibilities have been transferred by the constitution and by law to those institutions. All government workers who initially worked for central government now must report to those institutions. Money was a big issue initially. We have not received money, but as I'm talking today, and I was challenging governors, that we have 40 billion shillings in central bank waiting for county governments to spend. In fact, it is beginning to give us a problem because we have money that is not earning interest, that is not being accessed by the economy, and that is money meant for